Hello, my name is Julie Goucher. Welcome to this short presentation, Guccia, a case study where people and place collide. A set of the slides and a handout will be available on my website, which is shown on the slide here, available also in the Facebook group for All About That Place event, just after the recording is made available. So let me take you on a short journey. Like most genealogists, I insert my surnames of interest into the various datasets available, and I am frequently surprised at the material that I find. This image shown here is from the website of the Hudson Bay Company Archives, and it is here that our story really begins. The archives of the trading company can be found on the website of the Archives of Manitoba, where there is lots of contextual material and various datasets to be explored. To explore the website, search for your surname of interest, and I've marked the search facility on the left-hand side. To guide you, this slide and the next few steers you through the various search options available, but I certainly recommend exploring the website further. So under the search options, look down at the very last entry there, which is HBCA resources. And now select name indexes. The name index page contains a number of different datasets, all of which are related to employment records. This slide is the same as the last, but what I've done here is I have enlarged the text under the name indexes so that you can see it much clearer. And again, this slide is the same as the last slide, but this time I have marked what my next step was, which was to search the HBC Servants Contracts database. I searched for Goucher, probably not a surprise, and there is one result. That was a surprise. I wasn't expecting to find any, but there were a few things that stood out for me in this one, and that is that there was a lack of Gouchers in Orkney. I subsequently considered the surname variations, thinking of accent and how that impacts the name, how people's writing, what they think they hear, as opposed to what they actually hear, or what is in fact said. And if you look at the results of this search, it says that George Goucher his origins are Orkney in Scotland. The Goucher One Name study is about a surname across time and location and a variety of spellings. But this presentation is not about surnames specifically, but it does show the overlap with the variation name of Guccia. As I said, Orkney is given as the place of origin for George Goucher, and Orkney is not flush with individuals bearing the name Goucher, but so it was here that the journey really began. So this map is from the software produced by Steve Archer, and it is called Surname Atlas. It's based on the 1881 census, and as you can see, there are a few places that indicate there are Gouchers across Great Britain. None, though, are shown in any significant number, but there is just one exception. So in this version of the map, you can see where that one exception is. It's in Orkney, but Orkney is barely visible on the original map. And what I've done is I've enlarged it so that you can see it. The results show, though, that there are between 21 and 30 individuals with the name of Guccia on Orkney in the 1881 census. So if we look at the numbers from the software, it tells me that there are 40 instances of the surname Gutcher across Great Britain. As you can see there on the slide, that just over half of them are relating to the island of Orkney. And in fact, there is only another 8 in Scotland at all, with 6 being in Suffolk and 3 in Durham. So I searched for the variation of Gutcher in the same dataset, and there were 3 instances, including one that correlates to the same individual, George Goucher. So in this slide, I can compare the 2 instances alongside each other. If we have a quick look, we can see the name George Goucher, George Gutcher, the date in which they were employed, 1792, under the name of Gutcher when he was 18, 1797 under the name of Goucher when he was 22, and then again George Gutcher in 1806 when he is 31. That did convince me. The second element that also convinced me is if you actually look at what he is earning, he's earning the same amount of £14. And the 1797 instance shows that he was a bowsman. I wanted to explore further, not just from geological records, but also a number of contextual elements and other disciplines that may overlap with genealogy. So my next step was to begin searching for Gutchers on Orkney. But before I did that, and moving to geological material, I did a quick Google search for Gutcher plus Orkney and was surprised to find these results, and one in particular. So the one in particular relates to Gutcher's Isle, what is recorded as a hamlet in Kirkcudbright. Now, I've explored over the last 30 years this part of Dumfries and Galloway, and I've never heard or recall hearing any signs of Gutcher Isle. So where is it? And how is it there, wherever it is? Gutcher's Isle is the first element that I'm going to look at. It's a viewpoint. It's on the coastline, not far from Cove End. What I'm intrigued about is the naming of the viewpoint, and can I answer the question of why? But how did the name become attached to something that is some distance from Orkney? Is there any connection? As I said, this map comes from the Ordnance Survey map originally. It's published by Dumfries and Galloway Council as one of their tourist information leaflets. I'm still curious, how did it get the name? Why? And is there any links to Orkney? And I'm afraid there is no end to that mystery as yet. But moving back to Orkney. So there are 2 things that I want to quickly focus on before we get underway further. And that's these 2. So hydrography. It looks at the water flow of how it flows on and below the earth, including water balance, quality, and how the storage of the water changes over time. But you'll also notice the Burns of Goucher is also recorded as a stream. Curious. And then we look at the Wick of Goucher. It's been declared a site of special scientific interest, and the rocks in the area are important because they are like those found north of the Scottish Glen. So, returning to Goucher, described as a populated place. We already know a bit about Goucher and Orkney as an island, across different elements that provide context and history to the island. In this example, we're looking at the postmark, as you can see here. Goucher had a post office that served the community here, and as you can see, this is an example of the stamp. There's the postmark of Goucher, as in the location, and the date, 18th of January 1932. So this stamp predates the Second World War. The post office was gunned by the Luftwaffe during the war in an attempt to disrupt communication channels. Now the building is home to a bed and breakfast. Last year at the All About That Place event, I talked about locational names and what came first. The name that someone had, the naming of the place, or the reverse, the place name taken as a surname or family name. It's very much the chicken and egg scenario, but I felt that it is likely that the place is providing the name for individuals who adopted the name, and I hope that by focusing on Goucher presentation, I would have found the pathway to the answer. The reality is that I have more questions now than I did at the beginning, but that is the beauty and the nature of family and local history research. There are always more questions. The recording that I did last year for the All About That Place in 2023 is still available on my website, and you will find the link to that on my handout. So over the next year, I plan to spend more time focusing on this case study, developing it further, understanding further across different disciplines, expanding on the folk that bear the surname of Goucher, and those wider elements across the disciplines that enable me to answer those numerous questions. To stay up to date, I will be sharing the information on my website, and there will be a handout, as I've said, to accompany this session. You can also contact me by email should you wish to, and that is also on the slide. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you all enjoyed the All About That Place event. This is looking to be a great event for 2024, and I hope it's a feature on the genealogy calendar in the years to come. Bye bye for now.